You guys are in here. Time to talk about Undead Siege. The mode is finally back in COD Mobile, and I figured since a lot of people probably haven't played the mode because it's been gone for a while now, why not do like a beginner's guide, how to beat the hard mode easily? Obviously, a lot of this information will apply to the nightmare mode as well too, but really the hard mode is what we care about because that's the mode you have to beat to get the Aether Camo. Obviously, you can grind the Aether Camo in the nightmare mode as well too, but I mean, it's just way harder and there's no point in doing it when you can just do it in the hard mode. So I figured I'd go through kind of just the basics of the mode and what you need to focus on to actually be able to beat the mode easily and be able to grind the Aether Camo way easier, which I'll probably do a separate video if you guys want on just specifically the Aether Camo, what I do in every match to actually get the Aether Camo for multiple weapons at one time. So if you guys want that, let me know in the comments below. But anyways, let's get right into it here. Now I believe you have to finish the tutorial first and then the casual mode and then you unlock the hard mode. I believe that's what it is, so do that, it shouldn't be too hard. But the hard mode will feel extremely difficult your first time playing it, especially if you've never played Undead Siege before, you have nothing leveled up. But what you want to do before you even hop into a match is look at your tasks, or look at the Zombies Battle Pass, which is called the Richthofen's Rewards. You want to level this up as much as possible, so your first bunch of games you're probably not going to be able to beat the hard mode, but just focus on doing the tasks. Getting the XP to level up the Zombies Battle Pass. And obviously, from the Zombies Battle Pass you're getting free skins and that kind of stuff, but the main focus is the Aether Shards and the Aether Crystals. These are actually used to increase your talent level, and I'll explain what talent level is in a second. But also, make sure you look at the tasks because some of them require you to play a certain mode. Like some of them will actually require you to play the casual mode. I would do those ones first. And then some of them require you to play the hard or nightmare mode, so make sure you pay attention to that. Also, some of them don't really say which mode to play, so if you have those ones that it doesn't say which mode to play, just do it in the casual mode to start off. Again, it'll be way easier to do. Now anyways, on to talent level here. On the Undead Siege lobby menu, you're going to see a talent button. You know, tap on that. And basically, this is where you can level up your turrets, your wrench, your player overall. You go up to level 100. You can see I'm level 100 because obviously I played the mode when it first came out. For you, you're either going to be level 1 or 0, whatever it is. Now, turrets are the most important thing in Undead Siege. Those are what will carry you through each night. So I would focus on the turret upgrades first, which is turret weapon and turret armor. Once you do those two categories, then I would focus on advanced tools, which upgrades your wrench, which your wrench is very important as well too. I'll get more into that later. Then after that, you can really do either weapon upgrade or toughness. It's up to you. What I did was I would upgrade toughness to level 10, which gives you increased player movement speed. And then I switched over to weapon upgrade and just finished that whole category up to level 20. And then went back and finished toughness. Now the last thing you want to look at before you enter into a match is the notes. So next to the talent button, you should see a notes button in the lobby. From there you can tap on turrets and see a full tree of all the different turrets that you can actually build. Now for the hard mode, you can only get up to the purple tier turrets. The legendary ones are just for the nightmare mode, so I'll just focus on the purple ones for now, but I recommend just looking at every single turret, looking at all the materials you need to upgrade each turret, how much essence you need, all that kind of stuff. Now what I usually do is build 2 sentry turrets and 2 grenade turrets. For the sentry, I usually go 1 cannon, 1 heavy sentry 2. And then for the grenade turret, I try to go 2 missile. But if not, I go 1 missile, 1 double grenade. The 5 grenade turrets are super useful too. I'll talk more about why fire is so useful in Undead Siege later on as well. Laser turrets, I never really go for those, but those are not bad either. Really all the turrets are good, but I prefer the heavy sentry cannon and the missile the most, and then double grenade if I don't have enough for a second missile launcher. Now let's finally get into the gameplay details. Hopping into the hard mode. First day, really not a whole lot is going on. What you want to do is try to get the helicopter or just any vehicle. And if you look at the map, there are certain areas on the map, so a certain point of interest that have the Aether Crystal icon on it. And those areas have more zombies, but they do have better loot, so I'd go to one of those areas. For me, I think the Sanatorium is easily the best place on the map for loot, in my opinion. It does have a ton of zombies in it, but it also has a ton of turret parts and that kind of stuff too. So I would go to one of those points of interest, preferably the Sanatorium. I know it is kind of far away, so if you don't get the helicopter, you probably won't be able to get there in time. But go to one of these points of interest with the Aether Crystal icon. Grab a weapon, grab as much ammo as possible. I think for the ground loot, the Odin is pretty strong, so it's definitely one of the better weapons to get. But just kill a bunch of zombies, gather up some essence. Hopefully you can get some turret parts. Usually you're just going to find a pedestal level 1. If you're lucky, you'll find some other parts, but usually just pedestal level 1 on day 1, and you're barely going to find any if that. So sometimes you do get lucky, get a bunch of parts on day 1, sometimes you don't. It is what it is, it's random of course. But that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot going on day 1. Now, what I usually do for night 1 is I'll build a sentry turret. So if I do somehow get enough parts to upgrade my first sentry, I will do a sentry turret 2 first, which of course will lead to a heavy sentry or a cannon turret eventually. That's what I usually do first because it has longer range. But the sentry turrets will just deal with all the regular zombies. The only thing you have to worry about for night 1 is the warden, but with the warden all you have to do is use your wrench to kill them. Super easy, they take a ton of damage from the wrench, but very low damage from bullets, so that's how you do with the warden. So that's day 1 complete. Day 2, kind of the same thing as day 1. This time there's going to be supply drops that land. If you can get a supply drop, go for it. If not, it's not a huge deal. Again, go to one of the points of interest with the Aether Crystal icon. Again, I prefer the Sanatorium. That's the best place on the map to go, in my opinion. Gather up as many turret parts as possible, kill zombies, shoot the Aether Crystals. They'll drop 100 essence, plus sometimes they drop turret parts. Again, turrets are the most important thing, so gathering turret parts is the thing to do, obviously. Gather as much as possible. Again, then night 2 is pretty much the same thing as night 1. I would build a second sentry turret, again, has longer range. I usually build my grenade turrets last, so first 2 turrets I build are usually the sentry turret. I'm trying to upgrade them as much as possible. Of course, upgrading them for the first 2 nights is just dependent on how many turret parts you got. Day 3 is where you really get most of your turret parts, I think. Day 3 and day 4, that's when more turret parts are spawning. So again, do the same thing as the first 2 days. Land at a point of interest that has the Aether Crystal icon. If you can get some crates, go for it, the supply drops. Of course, you're kind of fighting with your teammates for the helicopter, because if you do get the helicopter, definitely go for the supply drops. You'll get the better loot there. Really, your weapons don't really matter unless you're trying to do the Aether Crystal Camo grind, which again, I'll do a separate video on that. But for day 3, again, kind of the same thing as day 1 and day 2. Gather up as much turret parts as possible. Now, one thing to note, I would do this every single night starting on night 1, is put your turret parts into your warehouse storage. So on the teleportation device, you're going to find a warehouse storage. There's a public storage and then a private one, or a personal one, which of course the public one is for all your teammates. The personal one is just for you. Put all your turret parts for at least the first 3 nights for sure in your personal storage. Because of course you want as much backpack space as possible, because you only have 10 slots in your backpack, and you definitely don't want to be running out of space while you're looting during the day. That's definitely the worst. So make sure every night starting on night 1, you're moving your turret parts into the warehouse, your personal storage. Now night 3 is when the heavy gunner will spawn in. The heavy gunner is really the only zombie you need to worry about. He deals the most damage, has the most health. Now the one thing I said about earlier about the fire turret is that if you light the heavy gunner on fire and you start shooting him, he'll take increased damage. I think it's like double damage, quadruple damage. I don't know exactly how much it is, but it's significantly more damage. So that's why the fire turret is super useful. But also just grabbing Molotovs. I think Molotov is definitely the best grenade to pick up off the floor. So definitely pick up a bunch of Molotovs. If you see a heavy gunner, spam him with Molotovs and then start shooting him. Again, Odin does a ton of damage. That's a good floor weapon to pick up. But as you play the mode more and more, you're going to realize how easy it is to defeat the heavy gunner. And just to note, on the actual teleportation device, or the control center as it's officially called, you can buy a war machine, a death machine, also a XS1 Goliath. I would save all 3 of those things until the final night. That's when it's the hardest, of course. So don't worry about those for the first 4 nights. Try to save those for the last night where you just spam them, because of course those will deal a significant amount of damage. Now day 4 is when we actually get the first side mission. For most of the side missions, you actually need kind of your teammates to help you out. So the Butcher side mission is doable by yourself. That's a pretty easy one to do by yourself. But some of the other ones require at least you and one other teammate to help you out. So it just depends on how in sync you are with your team. But doing the side missions is probably the best way to get all the turret parts you need. But if not, again, go for supply crates. Go to one of the points of interest on the map with the Aether Crystal icon. And then night 4 is pretty much the same as night 3. Obviously, it's harder. But again, just focus the heavy gunner. Heavy gunner deals the most amount of damage. By this point, if you looted up a lot and you got enough turret parts, you probably should have all 4 of your turrets, at least 3 of them for sure, at the purple tier. And your turrets will easily deal with every zombie, basically, except for the heavy gunner. And one thing I should mention, and this goes for at least night 3 and onwards, is don't just place your turrets down and don't move them around. You can see on the map where the zombies are spawning. Move your turrets to where the zombies are spawning constantly, because again, your turrets deal with basically all the zombies. Your weapon is not going to do much. Just focus on dealing damage to the heavy gunner when they start spawning in with your weapon. But other than that, your turrets can really just pretty much do everything. Now night 5, or day 5 I should say, assuming you have all your turrets upgraded, you really don't need to do much. kill some zombies, grab some turret parts for your teammates basically. So I can really say, because day 5, usually you don't really have to do much, assuming you've looted up properly for the first 4 days. Now night 5, again, you can have a bunch of heavy gunners spawn in, you're going to focus on them. This is where the wrench comes into importance. Like I mentioned earlier, after you do the turret upgrades for the talent level, then you should focus on the wrench upgrades, because the wrench is super useful for, of course, repairing turrets, making the upgrades faster, but for also repairing the control center. It's definitely saved me multiple times where the control center was at lower health, less than half, and then you use the wrench to repair it, and if you upgrade the wrench a lot, you can see you swing faster, it deals more damage, or it increases the health more of the turrets and the control center. So again, that's why I say after you do the turret upgrades, which is turret armor and turret weapon, then you go for the advanced tools, which is the wrench upgrades. So wrench is definitely super useful in this. That's pretty much it. That's night 5. Again, really heavy gunners are the ones you really need to worry about the most. Throw Molotovs at them, deal as much damage as possible. Night 5 is also where you can start buying the war machine, use your death machines up, hop into an X1 Goliath if you want, which honestly I don't even think the X1 Goliath is that great. I would just use the death machine. I think that's the best one to use. But that's pretty much it for Undead Siege Beginner's Guide. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Try to answer them to the best of my ability. If you're new to the mode, you never played it before until now, what do you guys think of the mode? Are you guys having fun with it? If you played the mode before, are you still having fun with it? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Comrades, let's make this place cleaner than the halls of KTB. The turret has been damaged. Now it's time to make use of your wrench. Your turret's under attack. Fix them before they're lost. The base is being attacked. Get those bastards away from it.
The turrets are severely damaged. What exactly was the point of having you here again?
Whoa, Vic, I feel weird all of a sudden. Like memories I don't even know are all fighting inside my brain for top billing. I'm seeing visions of a castle made of steel in a dark swamp. Why is this so... Your memories of other fragmented universes seem to be overlapping.
It's just a side effect of etheric energy. Nothing to be concerned about.
Attacked. Get those bastards away from it.
Time on spacecraft scanning completed. Coordinate positioning completed. Position transmission path normal. Countdown to teleport start. 3, 2, 1. Teleport.